Hello, and welcome to the History Channel.
Today we will be covering a war like none other in our world's history, the Cold War.
Specifically, we will be discussing one of the major causes of the war, nuclear weapons. This brand new type of weapons caused tensions that defines the Cold War. This tension is what sets the Cold War apart from all others.
Although the Cold War was not literally a war between armies of men, it had the greatest potential for disaster of any war in our world's history. The war began after World War II.
After World War II in the late 1940s, the two most influential superpowers in the world were the U.S. and the Soviet Union. Those two countries have conflicting ideas. The Soviets are communist while the U.S. are anti-communist. The Soviet Union is attempting to spread communism to increase communist power. The U.S. recognizes this and forms some anti-communist allies to counter the Soviets' increased spread of communism. Two sides eventually form, complete with armies of troops, weapons, war, and vehicles. The Americans feel that in order to ensure a victory, if a war broke out against the powerful Soviets and their allies, they need a weapon that would give them the advantage in the war. The U.S. finds this advantage in 1952 when they explode a nuclear weapon called the hydrogen bomb, or the H-bomb, as most of us know it today. This is in response to Soviet development of nuclear weapons.
The hydrogen bomb is approximately 1,000 times more powerful than the conventional nuclear weapon. It is 2,500 times more powerful than the Hiroshima atomic bomb, yet smaller. The hydrogen bomb completely surpasses all previous bombs in power. In nuclear fission, the nucleus of a fissile atom, in this case enriched uranium, absorbs a thermal neutron, becomes unstable, and splits into two new atoms, releasing some energy between 1 and 3 new neutrons, which can perpetrate the process. The Soviets immediately realize that for the first time they fall one step behind the anti-communists, so they retaliate 1 year later by building an equally powerful nuclear weapon. The Americans believe they must try to win back the brief lead in power that they had, so they keep developing new weapons. The nuclear arms race has begun.
The U.S. then produced a bomber called the B-52. This bomber could fly 6,000 miles and is capable of carrying tons of bombs. This was a very expensive development, and the Soviets did not have the funds to produce something similar. The Soviets instead produced larger bombs, which was a much more effective procedure. Then in 1957, the USSR launched Sputnik, the world's first space satellite with intentions to modify satellites to make them shoot missiles from space. Americans built a warning system around the Arctic Circle called the DEW Line. Defense and Early Warning System. This would alert the U.S. of many missiles coming at them early enough for them to warn cities and possibly attempt evacuation.
Continuing into the 1960s, the Soviets continued to make bigger weapons while the Americans focused on making fewer but higher quality ones. For example, the Americans made the Atlas, one of the most impressive missiles in our history. It could go 5,000 miles at 16,000 miles per hour. More and more powerful weapons were invented constantly, and countries began to realize that no good had come from all the money and fear that the weapons had cost. World leaders had to move toward a more peaceful state. The tension in the Cold War had eased through mutual understanding, and in 1991, the Cold War had officially been declared over.